Traders displaying their wares. It is the usual ambience created by the endless chatter of buying and selling for subsistence in an evening market. Few kilometers away, some persons are swaying to the rhythm from a stereo music box. Bane is a community of happy people despite a sad history.
We are going to demand our rights peacefully, non-violently, and we shall win.
Born on the 10th of November 1941, Kenule Beson Saro Wiwa was from this Ogoni community in Kana local government area of Rivers State. A graduate of English from the University of Ibadan, Oyo State, he was a prolific writer who displayed wit and literary proficiency in many works of art.
Despair. He cursed the earth for spouting oil, black gold they called it, and he cursed the gods for not drying the oil wells. What did it matter that millions of barrels of oil were mined and exported daily, so long as this poor woman wept those tears of despair?
Losing a bid to represent the Ogoni in the Constitutional Convention to usher in the Second Republic in 1978 may have dawned on the young Wiwa that politics is indeed local and the key to having a voice in Nigeria. In 1990, the native of Bane founded the Movement for the Survival of the Ogoni People, a mass-based organization for the campaign for social, economic, and environmental justice in the Niger Delta of Nigeria.
And on behalf of the Movement for the Survival of the Ogoni People,
first as spokesman and later president of MOSAP, the majority of the people embraced the ideology of the movement, but a few distanced themselves. As an outspoken critic of the Nigerian government, Ken Saro Wiwa, Ladon Mite, and top members of MOSAP led a non-violent campaign against environmental degradation of the lands and waters of Ogoni.
we want freedom! We want freedom! We want freedom! We want freedom!
While the campaign endured, members of the movement were tried by a special military tribunal for allegedly masterminding the gruesome murder of some Ogoni elders at a pro-government meeting. Saro Wiwa and 8 others, infamously called the Ogoni 9, were sentenced to death and hanged in 1995 by the military dictatorship of General Sani Abacha.
It was a shame that it violated both Nigerian law and international law. And sadly for me, even the judge rose to become the chief judge of Federal High Court. Several people who were part of that process were rewarded, some became generals, some became all that. Other parts of the world, you visit rolls of people.
This was a fraudulent trial, a bad verdict, an unjust sentence, and it has now been followed by judicial murder. I don't think that is acceptable. I see no way in which it can be defended. And if the Harare principles mean anything, I do not myself see how Nigeria can stay in the Commonwealth until they return to democratic government.
The execution provoked international outreach, leading to the suspension of Nigeria from the Commonwealth of Nations for 3 years.
The day Kensariwa was executed was the most sad day in my life. And I can remember that day there was no rain, there was no sun. And I was in Port Harcourt. Everywhere was very quiet and sad. and military were in control. Some permanent Ogoni were killed with him brutally. But still, I don't think we have anything to remember them for than the hero that paid the price for the benefit of his people of the Niger Delta. And anything the blood has been spilled, with time, the benefit must come, because you cannot stop the message, but you can stop the messenger.
The government of Nigeria demonstrated that oil was better and greater than blood. And that's why 26 years after the execution of Ken, nobody has been able to resume oil operation in Ogoni land.
From today onwards, Shell is declared persona non grata in Ogoni. No to Shell! No to Shell!
Ken Saro Wiwa's earlier proclamation became reality after his death. The Dutch company was no longer welcome in Ogoni land. 26 years after the execution of the Ogoni 9, what has changed in Nigeria's oil-rich Niger Delta region?
Nothing has changed. If anything, it is worse. Over 99% of the oil wells in the Niger Delta belong to non-Niger Deltans. Most of them does not know the road to the Niger Delta, not to talk of experiencing the negative effects and impacts of oil production. Look at the recommendation of UNEP report, that there is hydrocarbon in the air that we breathe, that there is benzene, a cancer-causing carcinogen, in the water that we drink, that as of 2011, that 5 meters of the land was dead. Now it has got into the water table. That the water we drink in Ogoni is 900 times worse than level recommended by World Health Organization. It means that you can see somebody in the morning, and in the evening the person is dead. And that's why weekends, the only festival is burial. If you call a traditional ruler in Ogoni today, it's a young boy. Life has become so short. When people spend 40 years, they celebrate for a life well spent. All that happened because of pollution.
Niger Delta statistically is one of the most, if not the most polluted oil exploring area in the whole of the world. We don't even have the correct statistics of our people that have died. But UN and others have said it, that the lifespan of Niger Delta people, because of the pollution in the Niger Delta, is lower than 50 years.
The essence of the struggle is the Ogoni Bill of Rights.
Political marginalization, economic strangulation, and ecological degradation. Ecologically, the United Nations came to Ogoni to establish the fact that Ken was not lying. He was saying the truth, that the Ogoni environment has been polluted and that it needs to be remediated.
We believe in God. We have the hope that one day the Ogoni's Bill of Rights will be given to us. One day we believe that Ogoni sons and daughters will be recognized by the federal government of Nigeria.
Some of the people who were in that tribunal that are still in government today. So this is offering the government an opportunity to redeem itself. It's also significant that Ogoni people have not forgotten. They've not given up. It's the resilience of the people. And this is one reason we believe that the demands of the Ogoni people and the entire Niger Delta people cannot be swept under the carpet.
Perhaps the dominant discourse in contemporary Nigeria are resource control, restructuring, and only recently the Petroleum Industry Act, as the Niger Delta contends with pollution and other forms of environmental degradation.
It's like taking from one hand and removing it from the other. So how do you share the 3% in all these areas that you're there? And even we were talking about 10% or 5% several years ago. Why have we gone down? Under Yeradua, we were talking of 10%. Why have we gone down suddenly? And what is the mechanics for sharing that? so insensitive to yearnings of the people.
When people don't want to listen to restructuring, is because they believe, as they quite rightly have said over and over again, that the oil in Bayelsa, the oil in Rivers State belongs to Zamfara, but the gold in Zamfara belongs to Zamfara. That's basically what is happening today. The only thing the Ogoni people asked for through Ken Saro-Wiwa and are still asking for today is very simply ownership, management, control, development of the resources in the way and manner in which they see fit.
A 2014 report by the United Nations Environment Programme reveals that it will take about 25 to 30 years to restore the environment in Ogoni land in a cleanup exercise expected to gulp about $1 billion.